Okay guys, just sold my first Veritaseum. You can see my order down here, 9.969 Veritaseum for 2.3991 Ethereum. So I bought each of those Veritaseum coins at $6, and I sold them today for about $100. I'll do the, well, you can do the math, it's right there. And whatever Ethereum is at this moment at 2:12 p.m. on June 22nd, 2017. Last I checked, it was like 330 per Ethereum. So, as you can see, I just pulled out, a little over $1,000 from so it was 10 Veritaseum, it would have been $60. Not bad. Thanks, Cliff. Thanks, JSnip. Actually, huge shout out to JSnip4, because this guy, man, he's been posting stuff left, right, and center to make it easier for simpletons like myself to take advantage of stuff like this. Now, when you get on this Ether Hub, Ether Delta GitHub, it'll generate a wallet for you. You'll see your wallet. It'll generate cookies, so every time you sign in, you can do that, but you also have to take your precautions and make sure you back everything up. Pardon me, sorry. And then right down here, actually, you know what, guys? I'm going to post the link to JSnip's video, because he does a really good job of explaining all this stuff, and, you should check it out. So anyways, basically, this is what the sale orders are. People are the buy orders. And you can click on any of these and if you want to sell. So what I'm about to do is transfer the 3 Ethereum that I had. I already had to put a little bit in here. So I'm going to transfer that, send it all over to my Ether wallet, and get it offline as quickly as I possibly can. So, also, coming up next, I'm going to be reading over what predictive linguistics are. So if anybody's interested in what it is that Clif High is doing at halfpasthuman.com, he's given me permission to read over the description exactly what predictive linguistics is and how he interprets that data. So stay tuned, guys. Hey. Okay, so here we go. This is Clif's definition of about predictive linguistics and his methods. So if I say I while I'm reading, it's just because it's paraphrased. It's Clif, or the interpretation of the systems and the other people that he has helping him out. So this is all Clif High's work at halfpasthuman.com. The guy believes strongly in karma. He can't help but give free tidbits out, but he does charge a little bit of money for some of these. The last crypto report was only $24 because it was a bit smaller. But anyways, it's worth reading and considering the information contained. So here we go. If you're not interested in predictive linguistics, this is going to get real dry and boring for you. But if this stuff fascinates you like me, then you're going to love it. So, predictive linguistics is the process of using computer software to aggregate vast amounts of written text from the internet by categories delineated by emotional content of the words. Predictive linguistics uses emotional qualifiers and quantifiers expressed as numeric values for each and all words, phrases discovered, filtered in the aggregation process. Over 80% of all words gathered will be discarded for one or more reasons. Predictive linguistics works as no conscious expressions are processed through the software. Rather, the context discussed within the report in the form of entities and linguistic structures, see below, are read up in the various intake software programs, and the emotional sums of the language found at that time are retrieved. Words that are identified within my system as descriptors are passed through the processing as well. These descriptor words in the main are those words and phrases that provide us with the detail sets within the larger context sets. As an example, the word prophecy may be read up by our software as a sports-oriented forum. In that case, perhaps due to the emotional sums around the context and the emotional values of the word itself within the lexicon, it would be put into contextual bin with database as a detail word. Note that the context of the use of the word in the sports forum is lost in the process and is of no use to us in these circumstances. What occurs is that the word is picked up by being atypical in context, therefore a high potential leakage of future value. The way this works is that most sports forum language about future events would be statistically more likely to use words such as bet, as in I bet this XXX will be outcome, or I predict, or I think that XXX will happen. So it is the context plus emotional values plus rarity of use within the context that flags words for inclusion in the detail level of the database. Further, it is worth noting that most detail level words are encountered in our processing mere days before their appearance. Within the IM, which stands for immediacy data, primarily, and then within the ST, which stands for short-term data next. But as a preponderance are discovered within the IM time period, perhaps an artifact of our processing. If so, one not explored due to lack of time. Cosmic joke noted. Words are linked by their array values back to the lexicon using our set theory model, see below again, which we'll get into, and the language used within the interpretation, detail words accepted, derives from the lexicon and its links to the changing nature of context as they are represented within our model. Predictive linguistics is a field that I pioneered in 1993. The software and lexicon has been in continual change update mode since. This is due to the constantly changing nature and language of human expression. Predictive linguistics works to predict future language about perhaps future events due to the nature of humans. It is my operating assumption that all humans are psychic, though the vast majority do nothing to cultivate it as a skill, and are likely unaware of it within themselves. In spite of this, universe and human nature has it that they leak prescient information and out continuously in their choice of language. My software processing collects these leaks and aggregates them against a model of a timeline, and that information is provided in this report. The Alta report is an interpretation of the asymmetric trends that are occurring in this instant as millions of humans are typing billions of words on the internet. The trends are provided in the form of discussion of the larger collections of data, dubbed entries, down to the smallest aspect, attribute, swept up from daily discussions within that context. Within the Alta report format, detail words are provided as noted below. Phrases and idiomatic expressions are also provided as details. In the main geographic references are merely summed. And, if deemed pertinent, the largest bag in the collection is discussed as a probable or possible location to the events being referenced within the details. In our discussion, the interpretation is provided in a nested set theory brackets fuzzy logic pattern. Okay, so these are just some of the terminology that used. So this is also very important to understanding these things. So basically just definitions. If their aspects or attributes are collections of data that are within our broader linguistic structures that are supporting sets that provide our insight into future developments. The aspect attribute can be considered as the brought along serendipitous future forecast by way of links between words in these sets and the lexicon. Entities are the master sets at the top of our nested linguistic structures and contain all reference that center around very broad labels that identify the entity. Markets, global pop, space goat, farts, just as examples. So those are some of the titles of the categories that they're broken down into. Lexicon is, at its core, level. The lexicon is a digital dictionary of words in multiple languages and alphabets, stripped of definitions other than such technical elements as parts of speech identifiers. The lexicon is quite large and is housed in an SQL database heavily populated with triggers and other executable code for maintenance and growth. Human language expands continuously, so the lexicon must as well. Conceptually, at the Prolog software engineering process level, the lexicon is a predicate assignment of a complex multidimensional array of integers to labels, each of which a word within the lexicon. The integers with the 8x8x10 level array structure are composed of emotional qualifiers, which are assigned numeric representations of the intensity, duration, impact, and other values of the emotional components given by humans to that word, and also contain emotional quantifiers, which are assigned numeric representations to the degree of each of the cells' level of emotional assignment. So, ever-changing with the language, the slang, the lingo. Spiders are software programs that once executed are self-directing within programmed limits, thus are called bots, and within these constraints are allowed to make choices to linguistic trails that explore on the internet. The job of the spiders is to search, retrieve, and pre-process part of the exclusions process that we will see 90% of all returned data eliminated from consideration in our model. The linguistics bytes, 2048, words, phrases, and multi-byte character format, which are aggregated into our model space when processing is complete. Data types. IM is immediacy data, with forecasting effectiveness from 3 days to the end of the 3rd week. Error range is 4 weeks. ST, shorter term, data with forecasting events from the 4th week out through the inclusive to the end of the 3rd month from date of interpretation. Error range 4 months. LT is longer term data with forecasting effectiveness from the end of the 3rd month out through the inclusive of the end of the 19th month. Error range is 19 months. So, just a couple more here that refer directly to what the linguistic things are. So, linguistic structure. In my model space, a linguistic structure is a master set, and it's contained with subsets, also known as directly held subsets. At the very highest level, each and all entities within my model space are linguistic structures, which in their turn are composed of many subsets of other linguistic structures. Model space allows for 256 layers of nesting in these subsets and these sets and subsets, each which can and may be a complex set of its own. Obviously, the model is derived from object-oriented programming at its highest level. Just some of the meat and potatoes inside of how the systems are operating. Metadata layer. In model space, when a meme appears directly held in numerous sets at the same level of support, it is labeled as a metadata layer. These layers can be thought of as common linguistic structure that forms with differing supporting sets as the various entities. For clarity, a meme in Terra entity would not have the same supporting sets as the same meme in the global population entity, but both would be a part of the larger metadata in that the meme reveals. Model space. In the interpretation of the data sets are represented on the screen in a virtual box. Fashion in which 3D box is drawn and the lexicon linked words from the latest data processing are shown within the 3D box by position and color, brightness, and hue of the individual pixels. Using an algorithm of my own design and the predicate calculus of the Prolog programming language, model space is populated by these database representations in a manner that resembles scatter graphs, but at a three-dimensional level. By toggling on or off several advanced features of our 3D box software, the various levels of data and crosslinks and other technical elements may be displayed. MOM. Model of model space. In the very first public release of information from my process, a self-referencing loop was created by internet articles about the release, and thus the next time the spiders were invoked, the process crashed on self-referential. Circuitous Sorry, a bit of a technical error there. So, the process crashed on self-referential circuitous references to my own work. As a corrective measure, MOM, models of model space, was devised as my very improvement on the process. MOM holds a copy of my interpretation as well as links to areas on the net to exclude from consideration within the predictive linguistics work. So basically, he's setting up channels that basically block certain spots out from his bots, so they know not to go to areas. Recently, he was talking about Corey Good and David Wilcock polluting the data with regards to Antarctica and the breakaway civilization and that type of stuff. So he basically had to go back and set up some more parameters, and now the data is separating that stuff. So whenever the next actual Alta report comes out, I'm sure it'll have made Clif a lot happier. I'm sure. So, set. Our approach involves the use of complex, fuzzy set theory originating the software industry's quest for intelligent machines, or AI. In our approach, the fuzzy sets are based on the ability to define such concepts as near, close to, about, and like, among many others, which provide me the ability to assign numeric representation as a qualifier to human emotions, which are the key element to future forecasting from predictive linguistics. Temporal echo. These are the linguistic echoes across time that will reference the same previously forecast meme and its emotional parameters. The language manifests in both instances, that is, the temporal meme anchor and its echo, will be related to each other. Though frequently the repeating echo is larger in both scope and intensity, in some cases the meme is completed. In our predictive linguistics sense of that word by the echo phase of the meme. TM, temporal marker. Think of this as a bookmark against which you may remember specific details of the forecast. Though these are chosen due to some more or less easily identified linguistic telltale that we expect to show up in the forecast language within media discussions. Okay, guys, and I hope anyone who's still awake and actually was listening to all that enjoyed it, and I hope maybe it clears some things up. And if you're kind of teetering on the edge of going out and checking this stuff out, it's not telling us the future. It's merely, the way I look at it is, it's giving my brain more things to consider. I have a family. I have a young boy and a teenage daughter, a wife who I love unconditionally, and I want the best for all of them, and I want the best for all of you. I think we all deserve the best. We certainly all deserve better. So I just think that by considering all possibilities and all types of information, you will then make a better choice in life. So I hope you guys are considering stuff like that as well. Remember to check out the Ubuntu Small Town Initiative. One small town. It's amazing. So I'm gonna post another video later this week, and I'll put a link up in this video. Check it out. It's a great way to try something new that's never been done. It's quite clear that the versions of isms and societies that have been thrown at us and forced on us are not for us. So, love y'all. Thanks for watching.